Okay, so welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Spawn Podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm Jack.
Nice little pause there, Jack.
Was it delayed a little bit? Was it?
Maybe, yeah.
I'm a bit delayed today. Anyway, it's been a long day.
Yeah, so episodes are coming out hit and miss at the moment just because, I've got no car still. So we're just trying to fit these in when we can,
I've got a third of a kitchen.
yeah, life.
Yeah.
A
Yes.
little bit different today's episode then. Instead of talking about what people should do, we're going to look at what people do that's holding them back, and what we
Mhm.
see quite often. So like the patterns, the habits, the stuff that stops the progress, even when people think that they're doing everything right.
Yeah. I, I'm gonna put my hands up now and say I'm gonna be a little bit like Peter Griffin on that episode of What Grinds My Gears. And I'm gonna preface it by saying it only frustrates me because I see people leaving gains on the table type thing, to use the stereotypical phrase. And it frustrates the daylights out of me that somebody is almost wasting their time over in the corner where a small tweak, and they're the things we're going to talk about, will make a massive difference.
Yeah, it's already hard to get to the gym for a lot of people to even step through those doors.
Hmm.
It just makes sense to, do a little bit spend some time to do some research, learn, and maximize the time that you get yourself in the gym.
Yeah, 100%. Like, especially, I'm living the lifestyle of the people that we're talking to, hopefully, or some of them, in
Mm.
terms of like dad, full time, busy days, busy life. Like, I have literally just stopped. What time is it? 8:05. So I know tomorrow morning I do not want to waste my time. I've got an hour in the morning. I need to maximize it. Otherwise, it's like eating well all day and then coming home and smashing a Ben and Jerry's. What's the
Yeah,
point? And I just think that when me and you started talking about this, I realized, and I see it every morning. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy that comes over and says, "Hey, you know me, the guy that's always training next to you. You're doing it wrong," because that's how it'll come across. But hopefully, we'll get an educational element of this, of like, you're doing a good step already by training, managing nutrition, and doing the steps that we're advising. However, there is a difference between doing them at a 3 out of 10 and doing them at an 8 out of 10.
yeah. So we've both picked our sort of top three
Hmm.
of the biggest things that we see that are limiting people's results in the gym. So do you want to list your top three, Jack?
Yeah, my top three, and I'm guessing we'll dig into them a little bit more as we go
Yeah,
along,
yeah,
is big rocks. So many people like attacking the little rocks, and it drives me nuts. Then second one is too much variation. You know, why use four exercises when you can use 15? And then not tracking sessions. Um, and that one is a little bit of judgment on my part, in terms of I'm assuming they're not tracking sessions. But there's normally some telltale signs that people are tracking sessions.
yeah. The
So
notepad in the corner,
yeah, or even
old school.
just they go on their phone and they type. They don't go on their phone and scroll.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Or like, people are creatures of habit, and I tend to use the same bench when I've got a push day or a bench day. The guy next to me is normally benching on the same day as me. And if I look over and his weight hasn't changed for 3 weeks, I know he's not tracking his weight.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that type of thing. So there's, again, this is me being a judgy coach, but I'm not coming from a point of view of being like, you're doing it wrong. I'm coming from a point of view of like, you could be better, and it would be better for you. What about your big three then? I quite like that you've named yours and you've given them like snappy names.
yeah.
I'm not intelligent. I'm not sharp enough for that.
So number one for me is training with purpose
Yeah.
and having a bit of conviction, whether that's in the exercise of what you're doing
Mhm.
in that whatever lift you're on, or the whole session, as a whole, or that whole week, or the whole block. Um, just yeah, a bit of about what you do.
Yeah.
So that's number one for me. Then moving on to a little saying I say all the time. If there's any people at the gym that, listening, um, is if there's no challenge, or if it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah. Yeah.
And then number three is respect the rest.
Nice. I
So
like that one.
we were due to record this last week when we were both pretty ill. So
Yeah.
that would have been quite ironic.
If we would have made any sense through snotty noses.
Yeah, yeah. But then
Yeah.
maybe we weren't respecting the rest with that.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Yeah.
Right. How should we do this? Dive into like one of yours, then one of mine, and then go back and forth.
Yeah. Let's do yours first. You know what I'm like.
Okay.
I'll talk until the cows come home. So you go first.
Right. Train with purpose then. So that's my first one.
Hmm.
It's a big one. Most people I'd say like turn up and they just go through emotions. They have that same routine they do week in week out. They do the exercises, they tick the box, but there's no intent
Mm.
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that the body is almost in the session, but the head's elsewhere. Like thinking about the
Yeah.
whole. If you lift in first thing in the morning, you're thinking about that 9 a.m. meeting, those emails you've got to send, that work that's been piling up or whatever. And it is tough to
Hmm.
like sort of step away from all that and like be present in that moment and in the session. Um, Especially when life, it's fun and there's other stuff going on, but
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. If you want to get stronger and fitter, better shape, you have to act like the session matters.
Yeah.
And
A hundred percent.
every single rep should have a bit of conviction.
And this is something that is massive. And it's just being made worse by this whole ego lifting versus science based
Mm,
approach. God, I could go on my soapbox here. I work with teenagers. I teach teenagers all day long, and they're a product of what they've experienced a few years before. And everything, every lesson, every session, everything is what's the easiest way to get this done. And people will want to do the minimum for the maximum bang, maximum like reward. And it's a human nature. It really is. But that's not what training is about. Training is about pushing the body to limits that it didn't know it could reach. And it's really hard, particularly when you start to feel that fatigue kick in. And we could be talking about the third rep. Those who really achieve, though, are the ones who focus and go, right, I've got 8 reps to do, I've got 6 reps to do.
mm.
I'm going to kick the daylights out of them. And it's no surprise that social media is full of people talking about training as going to war or, playing as going to war or battle or fight, because like it is. And we're not talking that in terms of musket over your shoulder or you've got to go into a ring with a boxer and survive, but the body copes in similar ways. You need to push it into fight or flight, and you need to really challenge its ability to complete that task. And if you're not if you haven't got to rev yourself up for a set, you probably undercooked it. And
Yeah,
I'm not
it's not
saying you
heavy
got to,
enough.
nah, I'm not saying you got to slam your head against the wall and shout and scream. But if there isn't a moment where you go, "Whew, all right, it's not heavy enough," yeah,
No.
or the reps are wrong, or you've undercooked the set before, you've rested too long, and that's where that intent comes. Not everything has to be 100% maximum weight, and not everything has to be 15, 20 reps, like burning. Whatever set, whatever rep range you've got, that load should be appropriate for whatever you're trying to achieve.
Yeah,
And if you
100%.
if you don't approach that set with a little bit of like, right, come on, like you're leaving a bit on the table. You'll
Mm,
you'll you'll then you'll cut it 2 reps short. Or if you hit your 8 and go, oh yeah, you've definitely got 10 in the tank or the next dumbbell up. And I think we like being comfortably challenged. People don't like being challenged. And I think
yeah.
that's that for me, that's where what I took from your train with intent is like, get in there, man. Go on.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know?
It's like the whole idea of going to the gym is to better ourselves, right? And make improvements. You
Hmm.
know, whatever movement you're doing, whether it's a squat, press, a pull, do it like you actually want to improve in that movement pattern.
Mm.
Drive the reps, stay focused for it's only 20, 30 seconds max. You can
Hmm.
switch on for that long, surely. Control
Yeah.
the movement. I was actually coaching someone today through a squat. Great depth, but sort of like dropping into it. Ass to grass, hammies hitting the calves there. But it was just sort of drop, and then she was struggling to drive back out. I told her as
Mm.
soon as you know control it on the way down, then drive, and massive difference.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You see it a lot in movements like that where the job is to finish the movement, and that is a natural inclination. As a coach, you've given me three things to do. I'm going to go and do those three things. It's like, yeah, but you can do those three things, or you can do them really well.
mm,
And doing them really well will teach you a lot about yourself, but it'll also get more from it. And I mean, if we want to get nerdy and talk about like the neuromuscular system and the physiology of it, being able to add some intent will switch on that nervous system a little bit more. And that extra switch on will add to muscular tension, which will allow you to do more, but will also cause more stress on the system. So if we're looking to grow, oh, intent is everything. If we're looking to move things quickly and become more powerful and become faster, intent is everything. And if you've got a 1 RM, a 3 RM, or a bloody heavy set to complete, you can't go in there like a wuss. You've got to approach that bar as if you're ready to fight. And I think that's why you see a lot of young lads in the gym enjoying it to a point, and then it gets scary, and that's where the real intent kicks in. But I think there is a lot that people can learn from just going, all right, I've been doing 3 sets of 8 and I've been using a 30K dumbbell. I'm going to go for 35. I might get 8, I might not, but let's have a crack. Or I've been using 30K dumbbells for 3 sets of 8. I'm just going to see how many I can do
yeah,
and just really attack that set. And again, I know I sound like some kind of Instagram bell, but it is like, I don't know. I personally really enjoy it. I personally really enjoy having a bit of a scrap with a set of dumbbells.
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
like
No,
if you,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah, like you speak to your brother, he's played decent, he is playing decent level rugby. You speak to CJ, you speak to Bonk, you speak to anybody who's been training long enough and really cares about their training. There comes a point where they feel like they're out of a tussle with that kit, and it's enjoyable. It really is. It's enjoyable. I
yeah.
like it.
But intent is a big part of what our pillars were. If we go back and
100%.
remember those,
Yeah.
so it just makes sense to pop up all the time.
Yeah. I
But
think it's a
yeah,
good
to
one to
sum
start with
this
as
up,
well.
yeah, yeah, I like that. But
Mm.
to sum this
Mm.
segment up, and then we go on to your first
Hmm.
point. You can give two people the same program.
Yes.
Yeah, you know where I'm going. But the one who trains with a bit more purpose is going to get way more from it.
Yeah. 100%. And and we might cover this a little bit later on, actually, in too much variation, but things don't need to be complicated. Training is ridiculously simple,
Mm,
but it is also stupidly hard because it needs to be hard. So that we'll get onto your second point in a bit. It
yeah.
needs to be hard, but it doesn't need to be complicated. And I think that intent will help people and show people how simple you can keep it, but how hard it can be.
It's very scalable.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Very
Perfect.
scalable. Yeah. Lovely. Okay.
All
On
right,
to yours.
big rocks. Okay,
Yes. Let's
I'm
win
gonna
this one.
sit myself up, steady my posture. I see a lot of people really focusing on the small muscle group movements, the small joint movements that make them feel good. People want to grow muscle, people want to get in shape, they want to feel like their muscles are working. They attack the exercises that get that response. But what they haven't done is focus on either the large muscle groups or the large movements. and they isolate down to bicep curls. Okay. Um, and then they'll
Going to be
focus
a lot
too
of angry
much.
people here now.
Yeah, I'm probably going to upset a lot of people. It's one of the reasons why I don't say anything in the gym in the mornings. A lot of people focusing on the movements or the exercises or the machines that help them feel that squeeze. What they're actually feeling isn't squeeze. It isn't mechanical tension. It isn't muscular stress. They're just feeling a buildup of fatigue and a buildup of byproducts. You'd be much better off. You'd involve those muscles. You'd involve those joints if you hit some really big lifts early in your session. And I'm not saying everyone's got to bench, barbell bench, everyone's got to squat, everyone, not everyone can do it. But find an exercise that allows you to load the system really well and get after it. Put that early in your session. As soon as when you walk into the gym, that's the freshest you're going to be that session. Maybe post warm up, particularly if you're my age or a rugby player, or you've rolled out of bed and rolled into the gym. But post warm up is about as fresh as you're going to be. That is the perfect time to hit something big and really attack something that is going to give you bang for buck and big reward. During a dumbbell bench press, your shoulders are firing, your chest is obviously working, your shoulders are firing to stabilize, your back is firing to stabilize, your biceps and your triceps are fighting to stop that dumbbell from going everywhere. Your forearms are getting a bit of a kick in as well. You could hit a massive push pull session and finish with your curls. Just generally speaking, the optimum order of session is large muscle groups to small muscle groups, large movements to small movements, high demand movements to low demand movements. And there's a reason for that. Neuromuscularly speaking, we need to make sure that we are targeting as much nervous system activation and as much muscular activation as possible before we start adding stress. So think of it this way. If you go straight in and you start attacking your bicep curls, you might get a good chunk of bicep working, but you could probably get more by doing a really heavy pull because the load that we're able to pull is much greater, which is going to require greater nervous system function, which is going to improve the number and the size of muscle fibers being used. We've got a scale of small muscle fibers to large muscle fibers. The large ones, they're the ones that we really want to tackle. They're the ones that are going to give us big returns in size and strength, etc. They don't switch on with small movements. They don't switch on with low load. They only switch on when there's high stress, high demand. So we need to get there. And if we get there, we'll get stronger. Trust me, we'll bark on at this over and over and over again. You want to live longer, you want to feel better, get stronger, right? Move that to the side. That's a given. But once you're working under strength, you've got a greater nervous system activation and you've got more muscle working, right? Now go and do some hypertrophy. I guarantee you're going to grow more muscle because there's more muscle working. So you can apply more stress. And I've ranted on my soapbox there. Hit the big rocks, get in, get your big bang buck for buck exercises done, and then tackle your small rocks.
Hang on.
Now, I didn't explain that to you. I just said big rocks.
Yeah.
What did you take from it? Was that where you thought I was going?
100%.
Yeah.
Because I think you worded it before, like people starting with their small rocks and then going to their big rocks, or
Yeah.
just not hitting their big rocks at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
People start with bicep curls, as you say, and then their arms knackered when they're trying to perform another
Do
lift.
the- Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the biceps integral to a lot of lifts. It might be a secondary sort of muscle
Mm.
group they're using, but it'll still impact performance, and you won't get the best stimulus on the back or the lats. Say if you're rowing, you know.
Yeah.
But I see it all the time. People starting with I don't know single arm stuff that's fairly light and easy and would be like considered a finisher sort of exercise, a little rock, call it. And
Hmm.
then, going on to, I don't know, bench press and then finishing with a heavy trap bar deadlift.
Mm.
And I don't know, it's screaming inside. It's just, I mean, it's like, it's common sense to us because we've obviously
Yeah.
learned, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's
And
still
I
a lot
think
of
a lot of it,
misconceptions and stuff
yeah. And I
about.
think people are looking at what bodybuilders do. Now, bodybuilders will use something
Mm,
called pre-fatigue or pre-exhaustion. Yes, there is credence to that in terms of that will work. However, look at the size of that bodybuilder. Look at the work that the bodybuilder has done before they start adding in pre-fatigue and exhaustion work. They're already good at bench press. They're already good at leg exercises. They're already pretty strong, but they also can switch on muscle fibers almost on demand because of the style of training they complete. There's tempo, there's eccentric, there's lots of focus on intent, there's lots of focus on activation, and there's lots of focus on them being able to actively use their nervous system. They're talented people. They wouldn't be on the front of magazines. Okay. Now, it works for them, and it might work for a few of us. Is far more efficient, and you're going to get a broader array of rewards by hitting your big rocks first. So I know there's going to be people out there that probably arguing, going, "Oh yeah, well this bodybuilder goes and does chest flies before he does bench press." One, that chest fly might be his warm up. That might just be our equivalent of doing some toe taps and some press ups or some like banded work to fire the shoulders. Your bodybuilders are pretty good. They're pretty efficient at going in and going, boom, good set of chest flies, good set of press. Cool. Now I'm lifting. But it looks like pre-exhaustion and pre-fatigue. Or they've had 6 months, a year of heavy, high rep, high volume, large
mm,
muscle groups, big work. And now they're looking to put shape onto their muscles. That's not what 90% of us are doing. 90% of us are looking at putting on more mass and more strength. So we can't copy those bodybuilders.
no, I mean, might be opening another can of worms, but they look good, but how functional are they?
Yeah, yeah. You ask a bodybuilder, scratch his back. A proper bodybuilder. We're talking a competitive
Yeah,
bodybuilder
yeah,
here. But yeah, you're
lovely.
right. And they've got one goal in mind. We, as weekend warriors, have got multiple.
Okay, moving on to my second.
Come on in, your second one.
So no challenge equals no change. I've got written
Oh,
down, which is basically if you're from the gym where I'm at, I do say it all the time. Is if it doesn't challenge you, it ain't gonna change you.
nah, you're
I
right.
basically say that into response to somebody with not having enough weight on the bar. They say, "Oh, that felt a bit easy." Well, yeah, if you
It's
haven't
not
got
supposed to be.
no, exactly. Take a squat. Your legs are used to your own body weight all day, walking and moving yourself about. They need a little bit of extra load to get
Hmm.
a stimulus that we want.
Yeah.
Um, so people love comfort. Creatures
Yes.
of habit and stuff.
Yeah.
Your brain is wired to pick the easier option automatically. And that's like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
The brain sees hard effort as stress, so it tries to
Hmm.
avoid it. But that's exactly where our adaptations are going to happen. I'm afraid.
Yeah. I mean, fight or flight in it. Yeah.
Exactly.
A heavy barbell makes us fight it or run away. And what you'll get is people saying, I can handle this. It's not easy, but I can handle it. That's not how the body responds. And that's not what drives the body forward. In actual fact, you will get natural inhibition of tension and stretch. The way the muscles are wired, there's two organs inside the muscles. One is a stretch reflex, and one is a stretch sensor, and one is a tension sensor, along with other things. But using them as an example, you'll get information from them when stretch and tension is high, and they'll start to naturally inhibit our ability because beyond what we know is just known as danger. Now, we can do more than we can feel. We can do more than what we're capable of. The body naturally inhibits us because it's a little bit of an unknown. It's like when you run out of petrol in your car, you still got a few miles left. We don't know how many miles there are. but you've got a few miles left. Well, the body
Mm.
has that system. The petrol light coming on, that's those organs kicking off, going, look, I know where you're going, and I'm not a massive fan of it. But to really drive us forwards, we need to keep pushing into the petrol light. And sometimes, not always, and this is going to come to your point three, not always, but sometimes we need to see how far we can go when that number hits zero. And that is, I say terrifying. I don't mean terrifying as in run and hide under your bed. I mean neurally, neuromuscularly, and um, physiologically terrifying. But it's that terror, that stress that's going to remind the body, I should probably be better next time because this clown's going to do it again. He's going to go back in there and he's going to stress me out again and he's going to
Yeah,
try and really push me again. Ah, fine, I'll get better. Now, the more we scare it, the better it wants to be. There is obviously a threshold where we can scare it too much. Um, but yeah, and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's easy to get over that fear because it's not. Um,
no,
yeah. I also like how one, two, and three for you connect, but are still different.
yeah, I wasn't going for that, but it sort of
Mm.
formed that way.
Yeah, it's
And
naturally
we,
sort of
we
linked
didn't
that way.
we didn't look at I didn't see your points
Mm.
until after I wrote mine, so they
Yeah,
sort of linked up quite well as well. Um, but yeah,
I like
sticking with
it.
this one, people staying too light on the bar, which is fair
Hmm.
enough if they're new or lacking a bit of confidence. Yeah, you're gonna have to learn at some point, and no better way to keep it light and move and learn the movement patterns. I
Yeah.
get that, but at some point you will have to load the bar enough to force change and test your technique
Hmm.
under load.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just repeating what your body can already handle, it's just not going to cut it out.
Nah.
So
Uh,
it's not going to
All
cut
you're
it.
doing there is constantly running a 5K. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But you want to run a 10K,
At the
but you're
same pace.
constantly, yeah, you're just constantly running a 5K and you're going out and going. I did it in 26 minutes last time. I'll see if I can go faster than 26 minutes. And you do 26 minutes again. You go, yeah, that was pretty tough. I was puffing,
Mm.
but you just keep running 26 minutes. Really, you need to go, I'm going to go 25 and a half here. And you like shut your eyes, don't shut your eyes on a run, but you close your mouth and you go. And it's not dissimilar in the gym. You have to sometimes now and again go into a threshold and intensity that you've never done before. There is a buffer. There's an intensity buffer, an intent buffer that we can go into before anything goes wrong. And normally, as coaches, we see it as a change in technique or a change in speed or something. There's loads of telltale signs we can get from athletes. Now, a lot of people will laugh at me because they'll turn around after a heavy set that I've forced them to do, and they'll be puffing and they'll look at me, and I'm just smiling because I'm like, "You've hit it. You've done it." Now, unfortunately, you got 2 minutes rest. You got to go again, but you've done
Yeah.
it. Do you know what I mean? And like, I really, really enjoy seeing people step out from under a barbell or under a set of dumbbells that they didn't think they could do. And don't get me wrong, they want to swing for me, but they've done it. And I'm like, yeah, you're all right, and you
Mm.
know the whole Mr. Chow, but did you die? No, you didn't. So let's go.
I just thought another one as well.
Go on.
Warm up sets that are way too light.
Oh my word. Yes. What most better
you
sets
know,
are supposed to get you to your work in. They're not supposed to count.
exactly. So they should prepare you and cue the movement,
Yeah.
for that set or exercise, wherever it is. But they also need to wake up the nervous system and get the neurons
Yeah.
firing and
Yeah.
muscle tissue activated.
Yeah.
If the warm up does not build towards you work a weight, you're wasting sets and time basically.
Yeah. It's turning the dial up.
Mm.
The sportsmen amongst us, people who play on a weekend will know this. The last thing you do before that whistle blows is normally something that's nearly game intensity, and then you're ready for game intensity. Well, if you've got 4 sets of 6 on your program, set one should be game intensity. Now, don't get me wrong, nobody starts a game, let's use rugby, nobody starts a game by running 40 meters and burying the biggest guy on the field. Well, some people do. But
Sometimes, yeah.
your intent isn't to do max effort from the gun. So if you're aiming for, say, 70 kilos on the barbell, it's okay for your first set to be 60, but it's not okay for your first set to be 40, and then 60, and then 70, and then 70. You've done 2 working sets. You know what I mean? Like, you could have done 4 working sets. And it won't take you more than 3 minutes extra to do 2 warm-up sets. You don't need as much rest in between. The load isn't as heavy. You can get in, get primed, get prepped so that you can attack your working sets. Love it.
Hang on. Right, your second point.
Second point, too much variation.
Mm.
So we're all limited for time. Okay. So this can be intra session or it can be between sessions, right? But way too much variation. I can I can see people in the gym and they'll go over, quickly do 3 sets of something, then they're racing over to do 3 sets of something else, and then racing over to do 3 sets of something else. Really, you've done the same thing 3 times, just in slightly different movements, because you're trying to get so much variation in that you're pressing, say, for example, at like minutely changing angles. You might use the cables 3 times at different angles. What's the point? Like, spend a bit of time chasing quality and really making sure that muscle is working through the desired range, under the desired intensity, chasing the desired volume, rather than just ticking sets and ticking reps. It is super easy for someone to walk over to a Smith machine, do some Smith machine Bulgarians or Smith machine lunges, 3 sets of 10 each leg with a minute's rest. It's easy if the load is wrong. Now, like we've already said, if the load is wrong, the stimulus is wrong. So yeah, you've done 3 sets of 10, but they're pants because you're chasing exercises in a session. You might as well chop that in half, go down to 4 or 5 quality exercises and really kick the daylights out of them. You'll get a much greater return from doing that. The second part of it is too much variation across a block and people not sticking to a training block or an exercise type for long enough. People will barbell bench for 2 weeks, dumbbell bench for 2 weeks, and then go back to barbell bench. And it's like, okay, the movement is very similar, and you might get some benefit from it if you're lucky and if you're precise. Most people aren't precise, and they jump from exercise to exercise. They get
Mm.
bored. If you're starting to get bored with an exercise, you've probably got another month before that exercise stops being of any use to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it comes back to the first point of training with purpose, isn't it?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and you've said it before. Training is, for the most part, monotonous.
Yeah.
Um, just gotta dig in, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Yes. And I didn't say it.
No.
I'm gonna get a t-shirt, I think. Um, but you are right. And one of my favorite phrases with footballers particularly, because I think rugby players tend to get it a bit more. They do. I have to give them guns at the end of a session, but they do get it a bit more in terms of they want to chase development in an exercise. They want to be really good at an exercise. Footballers, I think it's because of the nature of the game, it's a bit more varied. But I always say to them, like, training's not supposed to be fun. And I mean that like tongue in cheek. You're supposed to enjoy your training, right?
Mm.
Particularly if you're not training for a sport, you are supposed to enjoy your training. But why can't you pick 4 exercises that you enjoy and beat the daylights out of them? Like, it's supposed to be repetitive. That's why the word repetition is there. It's supposed to be repetitive. Each week, you are supposed to ask the body to do more than it did last week or better than it did last week. Well, if we're changing the task all the time, it never knows what to adapt to. you're always asking it to do something different rather than be better than it was. Um, yeah, I am proper getting on my soapbox and proper grinds my gears here, and I. But
Yeah, I think for a lot of cases, variation is there for variation's sake.
yes,
I mean, you could hit full body with just 5 exercises.
yeah, yeah, the big
You
five.
know, yeah, exactly. That's all you need for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I know people will say that variation keeps training enjoyable. It does,
It does, yeah.
but not every exercise has to change.
No,
Change your finisher, change your warm up.
or
You
change
know,
every block as well.
yeah, yeah,
You
or
know,
progress and advance every
yeah,
block. That's
mm.
something I notice elite athletes do very well. Is they'll advance. So it's not so much of a change; it's an advancement. Like, what is better about this block? What is going to drive me better about this block? Okay, I'm still pressing, but now I'm pressing with speed. Now I'm looking to punch the barbell. Now I'm looking to throw this across the room. And that's how they vary.
Again,
Um,
that's having purpose and the conviction to what you're doing and what's on your program sheet.
100%.
You know,
100%.
but
I think that one's pretty not self-explanatory, but that's hopefully going to make a lot of sense to people and
mm,
maybe make them think, okay, am I just skipping from exercise to exercise? It's like speed
I
dating.
don't.
You never get to know somebody properly, do you?
No, true.
I've been
Um,
with the same woman for 18 years. I have no clue what I'm talking about.
Still not married.
Yeah, yeah, don't
When's that
start.
happening?
As soon as
As
this
soon as
gets
the
finished.
kitchen's done.
Yeah, yeah. As soon as I stop throwing money in this pit.
Yes. Yeah, but what I was going to say is, especially the newer you are to training, I'd say it's more important to keep the same exercises for longer.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you haven't got that
Master.
couple of years of experience behind you moving in those patterns.
Yeah,
Especially the older that you get, and yeah, the older that you are, and the newer you are to training, it's going to take
yeah,
longer to learn those new movement patterns.
yeah, 100%. Like, master an exercise, be good at it. Learn
Mm,
to be good at it. Do it so well that it becomes so easy that you need a new challenge. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Love it. Come on in.
definitely.
You're on number three now, and you?
Yeah, last one.
Last one.
So rest mainly, but
Mm,
respect the rest as a
yeah,
like a little term of coined under it.
nice.
Massive one, I think, after both of us being sick last week.
Yeah.
I don't know if it impacted your training. I had good 2 days off
Yeah, I think I missed three. So I
with it,
missed
and then
my last two gym and a run. Yeah.
Sunday probably went a bit too hard myself. Again, I should have respected it. Deadlifts, my hamstrings are still screaming now.
There's nothing
I mean,
worse than hamstring DOMs either, is
no,
it? It's the
I
worst.
mean, I haven't straight barred in well over a year. I just preferred trap bar. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, Jesus, tight.
I I know that my single leg session kicks the daylights out of my hamstrings and I can't move for days afterwards. It's horrible. But I mean, you're right. You are definitely right in terms of time off from training is super important. The body cannot adapt and change unless it's resting. It's got too much other stuff going on. I mean, there's arguments of there's little adaptations that happen, but typically the biggest point of adaptation is when we rest. The system's shut down. It's got time to rebuild. And I think people, especially when they're chasing weight loss or fat loss, will just hammer themselves into the ground. And
Yeah.
that needs to be aware that you're not actually driving yourself forward by doing more. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes more is more, but sometimes less is more.
But
I
yeah,
also go on.
got. I think people either don't rest enough or they rest too much and at the wrong times.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
whether it's in session, out of session,
Mm.
in between session and session. Um, there's not enough rest between sets. That's going to kill performance, especially the heavy that you're lifting. Or maybe
Yeah.
you're not giving yourself enough rest to warrant going heavier. Maybe that's what's holding you
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
You will be able to spot an athlete or an S&C coach. There'll be time in their rest periods. 100% there'll be time in their rest periods. It'll be on their phone, it'll be on their watch, or they'll at least be aware of what their rest period should be and roughly how long.
Yeah. That'll come down to your next point now as well. And I think
Yeah.
the OCD sort of nature of training or what it can
Yeah.
be, and just
Yeah.
tracking everything and including that
Yeah.
rest time.
We are all a little bit odd and a little bit OCD, and we
Speak for
maybe that's why we
yourself.
became coaches. Yeah, yeah. I definitely am
But no, you said
100%.
it before. I knew people are the same sort of click. They draw to each other.
Yeah. If
I'm not.
anyone's listening,
I've
anyone's
heard this
watching,
before.
if you know a nurse, I've got one in the family, in my other half. If you know a nurse, ask her to describe the people she works with. They'll all be the same personality type. Caring, um, yeah, caring being the big one. You'll describe them as lovely people. They're really supportive. They want the best for everyone. If somebody's upset, they're upset. They're a little bit highly strung. They're all the same. And us S&C coaches, we're all a little bit OCD in terms of we like order and we like things to go as planned. Nothing ever does, but we like things to go as planned. I think this was me and you had this conversation not on here in private before, didn't we? In terms of, I'm a firm believer that you're drawn towards something because you see the personality traits that you either feel you have or that you
Or
want
connect with. Yeah,
or
yeah,
connect to. Yeah, yeah. Rugby players.
yeah.
A
Mm,
lot of rugby players and footballers will start playing both sports. They'll get drawn to one. Now, physicality makes a massive difference, but also personality types. They'll get on better with the footballers. They'll get better on better with the rugby players. Now, I'm fully aware that I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because all of my mates have played rugby, apart from me and one of the boys played football. But we veered off towards football while they stayed at rugby. So I'm a big believer that we're drawn to our kind. We find our clans.
yeah, massively.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
We veered off there a
well,
bit, a little bit.
yeah, rest massive. If
Yeah,
you're in session, if you're not letting fatigue dissipate to a manageable level, you're not able to produce quality in the next set. However, if you're resting too long, you can allow stimulation and activation to dissipate, and you're not able to get quality in the next set. Generally speaking, if you want to be strong, somewhere in the region of 2 to 3 minutes. Bodybuilders, powerlifters, and proper strongmen will rest longer, but they're lifting a lot more. Generally speaking, 2 to 2.5 minutes is probably enough for most people, unless it's a big set. You're
yeah.
going all out, you're lifting something you've never lifted, take 3 minutes. You want to build some
You're
muscle?
getting close to that empty gas on.
Yeah, you are
Gas?
literally
You
fine.
American?
Yeah,
No, empty petrol
nice. Someone
or
drives a
empty
hybrid.
battery sign now these days.
But yeah, you are
So,
looking at what you've got left in the tank.
mm,
If you want to build some muscle, minute, 90 seconds, what I tend to see is people will glue on to that minute because it's quick and it's sharp and they don't have to wait. If you're normally the type of person that's like rushing between sets, give yourself an extra 30 seconds. Magic happens. It's daft, but that 30 seconds makes a huge difference.
yeah, I bet it does.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, outside the gym then.
Okay.
Yeah. So people, I don't think listen to their body when
Oh,
it's screaming out for recovery.
yeah.
Yeah. But you touched on it earlier. People chasing fat loss or
Hmm.
um, the strength gains, especially just after January's finished now, or
Hmm.
hitting the wagon hard, and going balls out, and they're actually putting themselves, you know, dangerous territory because A, they're not recovering properly, so they can get injured. B, they're going to burn out physically, mentally, and go back to old habits and where they were. Um, C, I've got to see, help me out.
They're gonna end up having counterintuitive, counteracting what they're actually trying to achieve. They're going to be
Yeah, they
pushing
go
themselves
backwards.
so hard, but
Yeah.
they go backwards. Yeah, it
Mm.
doesn't work. It doesn't. You absolutely have to rest. Like, we love training. It's genuinely enjoyable to us. Could quite easily find us doing something really physical 7 days a week, but we don't, because we know that that would break us long term. Like, I know it would break me. Like my eldest now with her netball and stuff, I try and jump in and give her a hand and train with her in bits and pieces. Over the summer, there are days where I'm like, I'm going to come to the gym with you, but I'm just going to help. I'm going to coach. I can't. Like, I would love to get underneath that barbell with you right now, but it will not help me.
Yeah,
And I think part of that comes from our education and understanding the impact of days on days. So impact of my push session on my leg session, et cetera, et cetera. And like, I know that 2 days after my squat session, whatever session that is cannot be max, because my nervous system is still ruined. Well, it's
mm,
DOMS, it is. I'm saying it's my nervous system. I'm trying to find an excuse, but I'm ruined. I don't have the output. But I think that's an educational thing, which hopefully we'll provide, is that we know full well that days stack together, and then there has to come a point where you down regulate, you down tools, and you chill out. And
definitely.
I think it's hard for people, particularly chasing fat loss. If you're chasing strength and size, it's easier. I do feel, but if you're chasing fat loss, people want to just keep chipping
That's the
away at
biggest
it.
one, isn't
Yeah,
it? Because it's such a slow burn as well. You don't necessarily see those changes straight away that
yeah.
people want. But
Do you
it's
know what?
learning as well. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, it's a segue onto my next one.
But it's also learning that missing that one session is not going to make a big deal in the grand scheme of
Nah,
things. You
yeah,
know, that'll actually mean that the next session you get in would be twice as good, maybe, because
yeah,
you've
yeah.
rested
You can
well
actually
enough that you can push a little bit harder and train with a bit more purpose.
100%. You'd be able to give yourself more effort and do yourself justice in the next session.
Mm, definitely.
But moving on to my last one, okay,
Yes.
and that's not tracking. Now, when people think of tracking, they think of being really anal and keeping an eye on everything that they're doing down to the gram for calories. And yes, when it comes to calories, tracking is the most important thing, of knowing exactly what's going in.
It's very faffy at first,
Yes,
and
it
it's a bit of a
doesn't. You
pain in the
do need,
ass.
yeah,
But again, dig in, get through that sort of
yeah,
shitty
yeah,
stage. You
yeah.
know, same with training. You have shitty stages where you have to. I don't want to use the words again, but dig in and just get it done. Uh, I've
It
not
just
got a better
works.
line to
It's
use. It does. It
yeah,
does.
it
It's too
just
good.
works.
Getting
You're
past
right.
those darker days and
Yeah, set your
sunshine
systems
over
up.
there. Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Like, set your systems up so that they run. And understanding that tracking can seem really tricky, and it can seem like a task. But once that system is in place, and once it's become part of what you do when you're in the gym or in the kitchen, it will make a massive difference, because it can accelerate your growth. Now, case in point, my first years have just had their first block of tracking, their sheets. I always try and bring it in. When I bring it in is all dependent on how they respond. They responded pretty well, but football, we're in a pretty tough time of the season. A lot of tough games, a lot of other things going on outside of their football, college football. Rugby, we're competing. So I'm not going to add another task. Now we're tracking. What I've noticed is they're all moving up the dumbbell rack. They
nice.
haven't done that for ages. They paused. I know, competitive season, blah, 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 blah. There's probably some coaches listening going, whatever, right? These kids are young. They should be developing block on block. I have seen the greatest development in the shortest period of time since I asked them to literally just write down each set. I've given them the sheet, I've given them the template. All they have to do is fill in which of the options they're choosing and which weight they've picked up for that set. It was tough the first week. I had to keep pausing the music and telling them, going right down, going right down, going right down. We're on week 5. I'm Well, you know me. I'm semi on purpose forgetting to get the sheets out. I've completely forgotten.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Just
they're
roll with it.
reminding,
It's
yeah, yeah,
totally
yeah.
planned.
I'm It's a test for you. They're
Exactly.
asking me now, have we got a sheets? Have we got a sheets? Have we got a sheets? Oh,
Nice.
I did this. Coming back to one of our other points, I did this session last week. I did the strength session. Any chance I could jump over to the performance session? Nope, absolutely not. You said you were sticking to that strength session. You made an agreement with me. You were going to stick to that strength block. We've talked about reasons X, Y, Z. You need to build your strength. Now go and track. While you're there, what do you lift the first week? I did 4 sets of six the first week. Yeah, okay. What was the weight? 30 kilos. Fantastic. What are we on now? Oh, we're on 4 5s. Right, okay, cool. But what's the weight? Yeah, I'm in 37s. Do you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go for 40s this week. I'm like, boys, that wouldn't have happened in that short period of time if you weren't aware of what you lifted last week. And then the conversations open of, oh, I hit 100 kilos last week. I don't know if I can do more than 100 kilos. That's okay. Let's do 3 sets of 100 kilos.
Mm.
And we start talking about volume and intensity. And by tracking, there is a much greater understanding of what's going on in your session. You know your intent. You know where your big rocks are. There's not much variation because we've stuck to exactly what we said we were going to do. They're writing things down. They're being forced to rest. Do you know what I mean? They're hitting our six biggest problems
Yeah.
just by writing down what they wanted to
One
do.
one piece of paper or one notes page on your phone. The
Makes
more
a massive
data you have,
difference.
the more information it gives you.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be pretty. Squat, week one, 4 by 100. Perfect. Thanks. Week two, what are you going to do? Three
Yeah.
100s and 105. Great. That's up.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be pretty.
No, it's just making sure that doesn't become a tick box exercise.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
only thing to be wary of.
And don't do what I used to do and go, yeah, I'll do 2 sets of 100 here because that's how I'm feeling. Write it down in both boxes and then go,
And
have I done two or one?
then
Oh, well, another set.
yeah, I'll write it down and then not get it for whatever reason.
Yeah, because it's in
Scribble
your
and
head.
change the numbers.
That that annoys me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're
Right.
my big three. I'm happy with them big three, and
Nice.
this exercise of me and you doing this because we're supposed to do it last week, so I've had 2 weeks of playing with this now. Um, I've been looking at this more and more and more and more with my athletes. I'm enjoying it. So
Nice.
we're learning, not learning, we're benefiting just as much as the people listening.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely am thinking
Yeah,
about more.
100%.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Sum it up then, because it's bedtime
Nice.
for me.
Yeah, yeah. I got
So
half hour of sleep.
I'll sum my three up and then I'll hand over to you. Right.
Yeah, nice. Go on.
So for me, the next time you go into the gym, think about your session, whatever it is, and what you want to get out of it, and train with a bit of conviction, exercise to exercise, set to set. Okay. Number
Hmm.
two, then challenge yourself next time you're in the gym on one of your crossover to yours, but one of your big rocks. So one of those big lifts, multi joint, multi muscle. Challenge yourself. Chuck an extra 2.5 kilos on either side, 5 kilos on either side. Go for it, and then respect the recovery. Set the set, and then session to session.
Yeah, nice. I like that. That's almost building kind of a guidance for a week there within yours, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah, I'd say
I
so.
think I think mine is habits and what people want versus what they need. Everyone knows what they need. They need to attack the big rocks and they need to be making sure they're making a big impact every single session. Now, again, that's not an ass kick in every session, but that session must have impact, whether that's just moving better or whether that's lifting more weight. Attack your big rocks, get your big exercises out the way, get the big meaty part of your sessions done when you're fresh and you can really attack them. Save your smaller joint stuff for later. Attached to that, don't bother chasing exercises. Just because the gym has 5 different chest machines doesn't mean you have to use all 5 chest machines. Become a master at 2 or 3. Your big rocks. There's a reason why pro athletes hit big rocks. Your bench presses, your rows, your pulls, your squats, etc., etc. They're the best things we've got. The other exercises, those variants, they're there to top us up. Let's leave them as top ups. Let's not make them the main focus. And then track something, even if it's just the two biggest lifts you're going to do that day, or if it's the one biggest lift you're going to do that day, or your top set. Track your top set at a bare minimum. That's a bare minimum requirement. Just keep an eye on what it is that you're doing session on session, week on week, and you'll make massive differences.
Definitely. So I think if one of these six things we mentioned is missing, try focusing on it, add it in to your routine, and I think it'll. Well, no, I know it'll make a big impact to training.
Yeah, huge.
Nice. Okay, thanks guys for listening and watching now. Please follow, like, share with your mates, comment if you've got anything you'd like to ask us down below. Cheers.
Brilliant stuff.